So you want to go to Europa. It sounds epic, right? A frozen moon with a hidden ocean, a prime target in the search for life. You can build a rocket, you can do the math, you can even survive the radiation if you engineer hard enough. But the part that quietly tries to kill the mission isn't the launch. It's everything that happens after the burn. The immense distance, the crushing passage of time, and the fragile human elements of biology, psychology, and governance inside a sealed tin can, where nobody ever gets to go for a walk. Let's do a reality check with numbers. First, let's talk about distances that break your intuition. The moon is about 384,000 kilometers away. That sounds like a lot, but you could fit about 30 Earths in that gap. Now, let's go to Mars. On average, it's about 225 million kilometers from us. A whole different category. But Europa? Europa orbits Jupiter, and Jupiter is at its closest nearly 600 million kilometers away. That's more than double the distance to Mars. Sunlight itself takes about 45 minutes to get there. Because of this immense distance, we can't just point and shoot a rocket. NASA's Europa Clipper mission, launching soon, will take about 5.5 years to get there. It's not flying in a straight line. It's using a series of clever gravity assists from other planets to build up speed, covering a mind-boggling 2.9 billion kilometers on its journey. And once you arrive, Europa is not a welcoming place. If living means walking outside with a mask and a heater, forget it. Jupiter's magnetic field traps a lethal belt of radiation, and Europa gets blasted by it constantly. On top of that, the surface temperature at the equator is around minus 225 degrees Fahrenheit. So any human presence on Europa would mean living deep beneath the ice in shielded nuclear-powered habitats. It's less of a colony and more of a permanent, high-tech polar research station on another world. So why don't we just go faster? If we could accelerate constantly at 1 gram, the same gravity we feel on Earth, we could reach 10% the speed of light in just 36 days. The problem isn't the acceleration itself, but the energy required. The famous Tsiolkovsky rocket equation shows us why. To get to really high speeds, your rocket ends up being almost entirely fuel, with the tiny little apology of a payload attached at the front. It's an exponential problem, and we just don't have the propulsion technology to overcome it for human travel yet. But let's say we solve propulsion and build a ship for a multi-generational journey to another star. How many people do we need to avoid genetic problems? The number isn't just about head count. It's about effective population size. To prevent inbreeding issues in the short term, you need an effective population of at least 100 for long-term genetic health and adaptability. And what about the normal variations of human life? Things like sexual orientation or gender identity aren't problems to be solved. They are realities to be planned for. The mission's success would depend on decoupling reproduction from personal relationships, providing necessary medical care just like any other long-term health need, and ensuring every single crew member is treated with dignity and respect. Coercion and resentment are how crews fall apart, which brings us to the biggest challenge of all, preventing people from killing each other. NASA is very clear that long-term isolation and confinement can destroy team cohesion and performance. You have to design the social system with the same rigor you design the life support. That means selecting crew for their temperament and ability to cooperate, not just their resumes. It means constant training in conflict resolution and decision-making. It means having a clear, legitimate system of governance, like a constitution for the ship, with checks and balances. No single person should ever have the power to make a catastrophic decision alone. You have to treat psychological health as routine maintenance, not an emergency repair. In the end, the real obstacle to becoming a multi-planetary species isn't one single thing. It's a series of interconnected budgets: the energy budget, the mass budget, the genetic budget, and the social stability budget. We can brute force some of these with technology, but the human parts, the biology, the psychology, the culture, require a level of design, planning, and seriousness that we're only just beginning to understand. Getting those right is the true final frontier. Thanks for watching.